Sonic, sorry. I communicate with the through 7 LCD.
Recently, DawahFilms made a video entitled The Enlightened Man, where he talks about Thunderfoot, once again, and the evils of secular humanism. That according to him, the only way that Muslims are not free to practice their religion in the United States, and that the only way that a Muslim could be accepted by Americans is if they get rid of the beards, the nice little flowing robes, and the, go to strip clubs and, etc., and so on. Now, DawahFilms, I don't know where in the United States you're originally from. Don't really care. But I can walk outside here in the United States, or outside of my hidden bunker, and I can see Muslims with the long beards, with the nice little flowing robes, with the skull caps, the whole 9 yards. There's a mosque not too far from here. There are women that wear the burqa and the hijab and all of this other stuff. I can go to my nearby 7-Eleven and actually, there's a couple of Muslim girls that work there. They wear the headscarves and, etc. and so on. You see, I don't necessarily know where you're from. You probably, maybe you grew up in the Deep South, although I doubt it. The fact of the matter is, there are many Muslims here in the United States that are very free to practice their religion, and they're actually quite accepted and tolerated, at least in very different areas here in the United States. But apparently, Dawah, you fail to grasp a couple of things, and I'm going to have to help you. And it's surprising to me that as a fellow Hispanic American, I have to explain this to you. Because, we Hispanics, we kind of like, those of us that have been here that were born here, that grew up here, or that have been here for a very long time, eventually they kind of figured this out about the United States. And here it is. Here in the United States, you're free to be a Muslim. You're free to practice your religion in any way you see fit, as long as you're not hurting anybody. If you want to follow Sharia law for yourself and for your mosque, your congregation in your mosque, go right ahead and knock yourself out. We don't care. Okay? If you want to, make your woman wear plastic bags, as long as they can breathe and as long as they're not being suffocated, we don't care. What we do care about, those of us here in the United States who aren't, wild-eyed, evangelical, fundy idiots, what we do care about is whether or not you're going to try and impose your nonsense on the rest of us. If you're going to try and impose Sharia law on the rest of us, there's going to be a problem. People are going to take issue with you. Because just like you are free to practice your religion in any way you see fit, just as you are free to promote Islam, there are people here in the United States who are free to say, your religion is bullshit. No, we're not going to accept it. You can practice it, you can do whatever, but for ourselves, we're not going to be Muslims. We don't want you to try and force your religion down our throats. It's one thing you telling us about Islam. Great, fine, we could always use a little more education and enlightenment. But the second you try to use our laws to put Sharia law in place just so that you can feel good about living in the United States, then you evidently don't understand what this country's all about. You see, our country was originally founded because in Europe, religion and politics were unmercifully mixed. They worked together hand in hand to commit some of the most nasty atrocities known to man. And I'm sure that in many countries within the Middle East, that is also a problem, which is why many Muslims are coming here. Because they're free to practice whatever religion they want. Now, here's something that you may struggle to understand, Dawah. As I said before, if you're coming to the United States, you have to understand that people here are pretty much free within reason to do whatever they want. If you want to go to a strip club, you can go to a strip club. If you don't want to go to a strip club, you don't have to go. It's not mandatory. If you want to go to a bar, if you want to drink alcohol, you can drink alcohol. There are plenty of people who are non-Muslims that don't drink alcohol, like myself. I don't drink normally. I probably have like a beer or two. That's about it. But I'm free to not drink. I'm free to drink and I'm free to not drink. I'm old enough to know the difference between the two. You see, we're having a similar problem with you that we're having with the evangelical Christians. That apparently you seem to think that you have the right to apply your religious standards to us and to make us try and live up to them. No, it doesn't work like that. Each person is free to do whatever they want. Now, Thunderfoot has every right to disagree with Islam. He has every right to make videos and say whatever it is that he needs to say about Islam. He has that right. It's called freedom of speech. Maybe you've heard of it growing up here in the United States. Maybe you have. I don't know. Because apparently, if you did grow up here in the United States, then evidently you weren't paying attention in school. Okay? But you're free to make videos debunking his videos. Now, you don't necessarily, you also, okay, let me just put it this way. But you don't necessarily have the right to drop Thunderfoot's docs. Because that would put his family in danger. Which you did. You don't have the right to go around trying to find people's personal information so that way you can threaten their lives for having the fucking nerve to disagree with you. Dawah. Now, if you want to use your freedom of speech to support the people in Afghanistan who are killing Americans, that's your right. But understand, people have the right to point the finger and say, you dickhead traitor. You don't belong here. Because evidently you don't love this country. You don't appreciate the freedoms that you have here. People have the right to say that. People have the right to say, if you don't like this country, then you can get the fuck out. And you can get the fuck out. You don't have to stay here. If you don't like freedom of speech, if you don't like the right to criticize any and every religion that is here, then evidently you don't belong in the United States. If you don't like the fact that people are free to do as they wish without, as long as they don't hurt anybody, then evidently you don't belong here in the United States. And you can go to a Muslim country and you can stay there. That way you can be a Muslim to your heart's content, act like a Muslim to your heart's content, wear the big beards, wear the long flowing robes that just accentuate your ass just right when you're walking down the street. You can do whatever the hell you want. But if you like the idea of freedom, and if you understand that freedom means that you are going to be criticized, and that people are going to talk about you, and that people are going to critique your religion, and that people are going to talk about the Prophet Muhammad, if that is something that you can handle, then stick around. Be a Muslim. We don't care. But the second you try to limit our freedom of speech just to make you feel comfortable about being a Muslim, then there's a problem. If you don't like people talking about the Prophet Muhammad, too bad. People are going to do it. Get used to it. Deal with it. Just like there are people that are going to be talking about Jesus, there are people going to be talking about Moses, there are going to be people that are talking about Abraham. People are going to criticize religion here. People are going to criticize what other people believe and what other people say. And if you don't like it, go to a country where that's not tolerated and see how long you last. This is Dumak the Artist signing off. Slanchini Falcha. Have a nice day.
Get the fuck out. Duck rap shit just